Good morning, Misfits. You are tuning into another episode of the Misfit podcast. On today's episode, we got some fun and big announcements, a little bit of talking about the future for both of us, Hunter and I, Misfit Athletics, Misfit Gym Portland, potentially a trip down memory lane, talking through a few things. And honestly, we got a bunch of announcements today, which is fun. So we're going to push live chat because live chat is the entire episode. So we're going to go in reverse order here. Yeah. Okay. So you haven't heard normally either during the ad, we tried all kinds of different things, but during the podcast, you haven't heard us say this episode is brought to you by in a very long time. And there's multiple reasons for that. Proper doesn't exist anymore. For the OGs that were Proper fans, we've scaled back a decent amount with Sharpen the Axe to focus on writing the old 21 fins and getting after it in the affiliate setting. And then I don't really respond to the shitty sponsorship offers anymore. You feel different about someone being like, hey, we'll give you $1 to sell our massage gun to thousands of people. When you're like late 20s, early 30s, you're like, wow, I must be special if this person's emailing. So we get a lot of requests for people to join the podcast as well as guests. They want to do paid guests. So someone can like tell us about their book or their TikTok channel or God knows what. And it's like always just, there's no way our listeners would want to hear the people.
So dumb.
Yeah. So hard pass. But we have a sponsor now, and this is my white whale. Not only did this company not try to sponsor us actively on their end, it took me like a year and a half to get in touch with them. And I tried everything. But here's
crazy that you went far enough to like that's kind of a miracle in itself that you actually pursued them.
I buy so much of their products. It's like, man, I want the discount code from myself to myself. But so the genesis of, for those that are newer listeners that don't know, a group of us started a supplement company 4 or 5 years ago called Proper Fuel. And the basis for it was actually putting the ingredients in the amounts that would like help someone into a supplement. I know that's like mind blowing, but you guys are hearing, we do the episodes where we talk about the supplements that actually work and stuff that you should take. And everyone sells those supplements. They just don't tell you that you either need to take 9 servings or basically it's just not enough of the thing to actually make a difference. And the industry refers to that as buying expensive urine, essentially. So I went down a pretty crazy rabbit hole to come up with those products. I actually used to mix my own. I used to like make my own pre-workout in a jar and it tasted wild, make your like head twitch like the cop in Dumb and Dumber after he drinks the beer bottle. And I would mix up like large batches of the post-workout stuff. And a lot of this came from a YouTube channel called Derek More Plates, More Dates. And this dude, basically if you took a high-level bodybuilder and a chemist and made them into like one human being, that's Derek. So his niche, the way that like his interests and the way that his mind works crossing is someone that's extremely interesting to me. Because obviously in academia, like being a meathead is not like, it's probably frowned upon, but it's just not all that common. So I got a ton of my inspiration to start the company and to develop the products in the way that I did, even at the cost of them costing a lot to manufacture. I got that from him. So he has his own supplement company, really big company, not really very relevant in the CrossFit space. That was kind of my pitch. Like, hey, you guys have the best stuff, but I don't see you anywhere in the CrossFit space. And honestly, like outside of Proper for us, we've seen the revolving door of like Progenics and Ascent and all these different companies. And it's like they put a bunch of ad spend in to try to get like a foothold. And then they realize that they probably can't, or that like basically the people who have agents just keep moving on from company to company. So our new sponsor for the show is Gorilla Mind. And I'll tell you guys a little bit about what I buy from them, what they have, all that good stuff. And I will not like force you guys through a multiple minute ad read again. I'll do some content on social media as well. But I figured because of how this happened that I should take the time to kind of explain it to you guys. And it's just, this is the doses in these things are very potent and they actually work and you can actually feel them. And some of them are the kind of things where it's like a tool that you would use only occasionally. And it's just nice to know that you're actually feeling something, sort of different. So products that I have had on auto ship from Gorilla Mind since Proper ended. I do their whey protein. I do chocolate in my smoothie. I've got my smoothie recipe dialed if anybody needs it. Dad mode smoothie in the morning, not having to cook is a game changer. Get your macros kind of exactly where you want them. And then I've posted on social, but they have a vanilla ice cream flavor, and that mixed with orange Gatorade is excellent post workout. I
Can
actually have a new
confirm.
I yeah, I had you try the recipe. I have a new idea for that I'm gonna try, and I'll explain here in a second. But so the Gorilla Whey, um, they have an energy drink that you've probably seen me drinking in almost every episode. And a podcast is a setting where I would drink this energy drink. I'm more of a like 2 or 3 cups of coffee a day kind of guy, but I'm also like this right here is all of the pill bottles that used to be like lined up on my desk that I would take before a podcast, the like nootropics and stuff. So they sell energy drinks that are like really high level nootropics. And the way that I've kind of like made sure that I'm not just, like a guy named Kyle driving a Subaru. No offense to our Kyle, he's not really actually a Kyle, but that's the meme of like the Monster Energy drink that he's honestly the most opposite of a Kyle that you could
It
be.
is true.
It's funny though. So if he ever
Did they
pulls
get
in
a
a
Subaru? No,
WRX
I think
Hunter,
Jack got a Subaru.
they might have a
He's got
Subaru, but I'm talking it better be blue and it better have a spoiler and it better be
yeah,
loud,
gold
real
rims,
loud.
spoiler.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So to make
he's fucking
sure
cooking
that
rice
like
back there.
I'm from Maine, my family's from northern Maine, I'm bearded up and wearing a flannel in this video right now. So you might not trust me that I'm not really an energy drink person. But my wife is also the opposite of a Kyle to the nth degree, even more than our Kyle. My wife's not a Kyle.
Yeah, I
um
mean,
so
good news
no,
for you.
she's not drinking an energy drink. Like
Yeah.
not drinking an energy drink.
Does she drink
But
coffee? Does Maya drink coffee?
yep, she's a coffee
Okay.
drinker.
All right.
But she's also a mom and has a fancy pants job that she takes extremely seriously. And what's been happening to my cases of Gorilla Mind energy drink because they're going away. And I see them on her desk. And she's just and it's funny too, because she like drinks them warm. Like she just go down and like grab one. She's just like, I need the like brain power basically. And so I've got her on these, which again, never in a million years would happen. She's also not the kind of person who's gonna, if I laid out like 12 pills, she'd be like, "You're an idiot. Like I'm going upstairs."
Yeah.
So the what there's a lot of flavors, and White Frost is my goat currently. So if you guys are looking to get into that, and I'll explain why this is really good timing in a second. Omega 3s I get from them. They have the Omega 3 elixir. 2 grams per serving of omegas and over a gram of EPA. And EPA is really good for mental acuity, really good research on using it for fighting depression. And I take 2 servings of that basically every day. And just again, like actual dosages that will work. Creatine, beta alanine, and collagen. Collagen's good from them because it's actually flavored. And so if you are looking to get a little bit of extra protein, different type of protein, you can get it from them that way. They also have both kinds of creatine. So I know that there's a few people at our gym in Portland and like all over the internet that don't take creatine because it messes with their stomach. And creatine HCl, I believe it is essentially kind of like when we talk about proteins, like whey protein that's broken down more. It's a lot easier on the stomach. It's a little bit more expensive, but the absorption is really good. At like one of those things where if you stirred it into water, it would actually mix. So they do have both kinds. One thing that I did not know that they have that I'm really excited to try is they have an intra workout, which is creatine, carbs, and salt. So if you take 2 scoops of it, you get 84 grams of carbs, 5 grams of creatine, a full gram of sodium, and would be the kind of thing where like if you're training a lot, having a shaker full of that would be pretty cool. So they have got like stress and sleep supplements, stuff that I plan on trying. But basically the timing is awesome because everything that they have right now is 40, 30, or 20% off in their store. They started Black Friday early, and you can add our code to that. So it goes 50, 40, 30 for basically everything. And that's obviously like, if you want to take my word for it, I'm going to give it a try. Now is a great time. So it's just gorillamind.com/misfit, or just use the code misfit when you check out. Again, great products. All of this stuff I've been using for a while, and definitely my white whale. Really, really good company. So yeah, we have a new sponsor and I actually use their products and tell other people
Nice.
to do so.
That non-ad read was a 10-minute ad read, so
Right?
must be
Yeah,
good stuff.
it's good stuff. And I won't make you guys go through that again. If you have questions about things, you can slide into the DMs as usual. All right, programming announcements. The Wanjiru Misfit affiliate phase gets started on December 8th. That's just a little bit of a hint. We will do the full podcast the first week of December, talk to you guys about the Misfit affiliate phase. And if you want to get started on that now, 2 weeks for free at teammisfit.com/subscribe on your favorite programming partners. Also, we have made some major adjustments to the program schedule now that we know what's going on with the season. And I'm proud to say that quarterfinals prep is back. So you guys are going to do 6 weeks of phase 3 instead of 9. Great thing about that, our expectation is test week, retest week, and deload are all done within a phase, which means we're looking for 6 weeks of very serious work there in the middle, and you're still going to get that. You're still going to get all of the progressions to go through for those 6 weeks. But at the end of those 6 weeks, we will start competition prep. And that will run during the open as well. But it's going to be a 5-week peaking phase. This 5-week peaking phase is the same program. Obviously, it's going to be different iteration of the program, but the program that McKenna followed year 1 to get to semifinals and Brandon followed year 1 to get to semifinals. So it's something that really helps someone lock in on the movements and going through our kind of tried and true peaking schedule for competition. To keep an eye out for that. Last but not least, we only got 1 week left on early bird pricing for camp at Roots. So go to our Instagram, link in bio. You'll see Misfit camp at Roots in Boulder, Colorado, January 30th through February 1st. And early bird pricing ends in a week. So make sure you get in there and pay for that. I mean, you can wait and give us an extra $50 if you want. But get signed up, then we know coaching staff, travel plans, all that good stuff. So, and I don't know that I emailed it out. I should email it out, but if you go to CrossFit Roots YouTube channel, there is a full interview with me and Nicole talking through camp, what camp is like, that sort of thing. So if you want a little bit more information there, or you can go, like I told her, you can go into Telegram and ask people how great camp is, and it doesn't have to come from us. They'll let you know. So
All
a
in.
lot of preamble there. I will now welcome in officially my co-host as Misfit Gym Portland affiliate owner, CrossFit MF affiliate owner, Hunter Wood.
We did
Whoa,
it.
dude. Yeah, dude, we
Crazy.
did. We did. It's nuts. How you
Yeah.
feeling?
Good, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Feel like it's been I don't know, I guess it was a long time as far as like when we actually started having conversations
sure.
about it, but it
Yep.
was
Yeah.
not necessarily wasn't like we're still having this podcast after having gone through negotiations, the full
Yes.
completion of the sale of a gym that you started in your home 15 years ago and handing it off, and we're still having a cordial podcast. So hopefully
Yeah.
that tells the listeners that things went well. And I think probably most importantly for like the members is that both of us were pretty much on the same page with like, however the fuck this works out, the most important thing is however the cluck this works out, the
I
gym.
forgot already.
I know, but I already did it. Well, I'm gonna do my best.
Well,
However this
your linear
works out, the most
progression has
important
stalled
thing is
quickly. You went from 1 to 1.
is Misfit Gym Portland remains Misfit Gym Portland, kind of in its truest sense. Gotten a lot of great, really kind messages from the members, which is awesome. Super appreciative of that. It's really nice to like feel like people are excited about that sort of thing. Like CrossFit gyms are weird places where it's like if things aren't going the way that people want them to.
If they didn't want you to buy it, we'd know.
Yeah,
By now.
exactly, for sure.
Yeah.
And so yeah, excited about it. I think fortunately put a whole lot of work into it over the last few years from a coaching perspective. I think there's still plenty of things that we can do better. I know Kyle's excited to get on working on some like coach development stuff even further. So yeah, the goal is just a better version of what we've got here. People have asked that. They're like, are you going to make any big significant changes? And like, not really. Like the goal isn't necessarily to make this massive right turn in one direction or the other. But I think there's just like, I kind of think about it like I'm I'm going to CrossFit the gym. I'm going to try to make everything, work your weaknesses, things that we're really good at. Let's keep those as strengths, but there's also a whole lot of things that we could do a lot better. So just kind of working weaknesses in that regard, I think will bring the entire gym kind of along with it. So not trying to make
Well,
any sweeping things because members are generally pretty happy. I'll say that, and I'll definitely get some emails about things that could improve, and that's great. But
yeah,
I think that's just a
you got a
testament
lot
to
of small business owner rite of passages incoming.
yeah, no, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah,
Looking forward to
yeah.
that. But yeah, I think the coaching staff does such a good job that members are generally pretty happy with things. So the goal would just be to make everything just like 25% better across the board, and that'd be pretty freaking cool. So,
Yeah, for sure. I'll make sure I don't bury the lead here. For those that don't know, I'm moving to Colorado. I'm not like getting out of the game. So I'll do that now. So you guys don't think that at the end of the podcast we'll say bye and never come back. But I think obviously if I own Misfit Athletics and Misfit Gym Portland, there are going to be parallels there. But something that we've done as a team for sure, for better or worse, is put so many eggs into the basket of writing really good programming and being good coaches. And at the end of the day, honestly, it's sort of like the parallel that I can give or the analogy I can give is the chat that you give people about it's selfish to not work out.
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. The parallel here is if you do a better job of running the business, it will trickle down to the coaches and the members. Like that is
yeah,
100% the case. And one of the things that happens here, and I think something that you and I are both looking forward to in a pretty big way, is I've owned 3 gyms. I have owned a supplement company. I have owned I tried to get into health coaching at one point. I've owned, a pretty scaled up apparel company. We've done a lot of different things within Misfit Athletics between training camps and all of this different stuff. And, like I said to the members, like a lot changes about a human. I started the gym when I was 25 and I'll be 40 in 6 months. And I'm really excited to go like all in on Misfit Athletics. And it's not like I haven't already done that. I care about it, wholeheartedly. But, all these other things take away from what we're able to accomplish.
it's the gas
And I
tank,
know
right? Same thing you tell an
exactly.
athlete.
Yeah, of course, of course. So I'm really excited I've had some goals for a long time that a younger me would have just done. I would have already started Misfit Institute of Training, MIT. I already would have started that. I already
MITT.
would have done certain things with our remote coaching offerings. And I learned that if I'm not ready for like a real true rollout where user experience is great and employees have been trained, that they typically kind of fizzle out over a period of time. So I've waited to do those things and I'm super excited to do those things. Like a little bit of update on our end, Paige has been mentoring with me for a while on programming, remote coaching, top to bottom through all of the programs, how we do certain things. She's sat in on some real long meetings with us
Yeah.
and asked really fantastic questions, and she's going to be stepping into a role where she's going to be the first person that makes this true deep connection between the world of the athlete and the world of the coach and programmer. And I'm super excited for that because there's just a level of perspective and buy-in. And honestly, I'm not offended at all if someone would rather listen to Paige than me, right? So I'm so excited for her to kind of step into that. You'll still see like Hunter's still going to be involved with the affiliate programming. You'll still see Kyle, whether you see him in a literal sense, probably not. He doesn't love the camera. I don't know if any of us do, honestly, but he'll still be involved, still be helping with programming and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, that kind of I think everyone knows what their main focus is, right? Like if you're still
Yeah.
writing affiliate programming, that's something that you are probably not going to outsource at any point.
No. Yeah.
If you're world class at something and you can deliver it to your members, it's kind of it would be, I think you would have a revolt if you
Yeah.
started following somebody else's program.
Yeah.
So
What's funny too is Go ahead. Go
Oh,
ahead.
go ahead.
Complete aside.
No, you're good. I didn't
No,
have
I was
any
just gonna
more
say
deep thoughts related.
I've had conversations with just on the programming thing in general. I've had conversations with people about like, well, what about have you used AI? And and this was a single conversation that I had with some close friends, and I was like, no, like I don't use AI. And as a matter of fact, I've disciplined programmers for when I review programming. I'd say like I can tell when something is written by AI relative to the other person. And I was like, don't fucking do that. This is what we do. Like, you are better at it. And through that conversation, they were like, yeah, but if you feed it a lot of information, like, you'd be surprised at how good it is. And so, as a small experiment, I fed ChatGPT specifically. Maybe there's a better platform for it, but a lot of information, a lot of details, a lot of like everything it could ask for, and it still did not spit out what I would publish without serious edits and changes. And I was like, and you know, I say that now on November 2025, and maybe in fucking February 2026 it changes over, but it's not today.
It does not have the ability to develop new ideas and concepts and progressions. It is
Yeah,
at this point essentially a glorified aggregator, search engine, that sort of thing,
yeah,
right?
for sure.
Like basically we've been like Google supposedly created the greatest search algorithm ever, and you cannot pull up a file in Sheets or Google Drive. You literally type in the name of the file and it doesn't show up. The exact name of the file. ChatGPT now can search things, and it has been fed a lot of information, but like the idea of creativity and nuance,
Yeah,
the person who would use AI for programming, and listen, if you use it as a tool to be like, tell me how many times, tell me what our biases are, or something like that. Like if you use it as
yeah,
a tool to tell you things, that would be great. Just because, like, always have it up when I'm programming now because I can do like obscure running math in like 2 seconds instead of like I used to use an online run calculator and you had to like toggle between different tabs based on where you're
yeah,
trying to come up with distance or time or whatever or pace. And the idea of, again, the creativity, the nuance, all that, that is what is exciting to us. That's what makes you come back and be like, how do I make this better? And if you want, basically that's like playing boggle with workouts. You're taking your workouts and you're shaking them up and they pop out
yeah. It's a
in a
bit of a
different
hopper
place.
model, but without any
Exactly.
quality
Yeah.
control. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was really interesting to see it. I had it do. I was like trying to get it to write a few weeks of the workout with our clean because we've been doing. What are we in right now? We're deadlifting right now. I gave it like last phase, like, hey, do prior like the clean. Try to structure the clean in the workout in the way that we've done historically. Misfit affiliate has done it, and motherfucker, that goddamn AI just sent
Whoa.
shoot,
What a
sorry.
bomb there.
Damn, I know. AI spat out
Earmuffs.
like 5 days in a row of like hang clean, squat clean, clean and jerk. I'm like, we're gonna kill it. Like
Yeah.
this is
Uh-huh.
you're doing your best, bud, but it is not
Yeah.
it yet. So
No.
no, we don't use AI to write our programming and are not going to. But I don't even remember how that conversation came about. But continuing to write the affiliate program is important, and mostly not lessly because other people do it, but mostly because the members over here at Misfit Gym Portland do it. So and that's our baby. So the goal is to get the business side of things and everything else to the same level as the programming and the coaching.
Exactly. Yeah. Um, so I am moving. So today's Tuesday. This podcast will drop today. I am moving to Grand Junction, Colorado in 2 days. I am broadcasting from the Dreamatorium. I'm sad to leave the Dreamatorium. I busted Bobby Orr out here. I
Yeah.
would show you guys more, but everything's close to gone at this point. This green chair that I'm sitting in is the only piece of furniture left down here. And yeah, as a lot of you know, I went to college in Colorado. I went to CSU in Fort Collins. A bunch of my best friends live in Grand Junction, which is the western side of the state over by Utah. And I hop in my car on Thursday with my Frenchie for a 38-hour, 2,500-mile drive. My life has
Eat it.
been hectic. I told you guys on Instagram, you know what's funny? Side tangent. If I talk about Starbucks being bad, golf being stupid, or pop country music being trash, that is the most engagement I get on social media. The amount of DMs that I get, and they're just polarizing topics. And the funny thing is you can't, like, it should be obvious that I'm trolling. I'm not really trolling about Starbucks. Starbucks is gross. Like, that's just
It's
a fact.
terrible.
It's so disgusting.
So
And if you
bad. You can
put a
send
bunch of
me hate
junk
mail
in
for
it,
that too.
if you put a bunch of junk in it, that's why they make it gross. They make it gross because you guys put so much stuff in it that they want it to be so you can still taste coffee. That's where the like quadruple dark roast trash came from.
Yeah. Why would you
Also, the amount
spend
of
money
beans
on
that
the
they use for
cheapest
one
part
cup
of
is
the coffee?
crazy. There is a lot of caffeine in a cup of Starbucks, like a lot, a lot, a lot. So I get it. I understand the delivery vehicle, what you guys are up to, but I just find it funny that if I troll golf, country music, or Starbucks, I either get like a hell yeah, man, or like, are you kidding me? Starbucks is the best. Is it? Anyways, so I am driving across the country, hectic life. I'm kind of excited for day one. I don't know that I'll be excited the whole time. I've told people I did that drive a lot when I was in college, and from Western Pennsylvania to Colorado is corn, soy, and wheat. That's it. That's all it is.
Yeah,
Literally, you're
for
just
sure.
driving past crops the entire
It's
time. So I don't know how
just
pumped I'm
you
gonna
and
be. Just me and Hank. Yeah.
just you and Hank.
Yeah. Maya and Carter are staying for the closing of the house, and I'm going to like get things set up a little bit. Um, the washer and dryer getting delivered. I'm gonna set up Carter's crib, just the essentials, that whole deal. Um, and we are building a house out there. I thought we would be moving into it now. We'll be moving into it in 2036 probably, is my guess. So we're going out to live in a rental, but then the next time, yeah. Yeah, it's so weird to say that. Next time you guys see me, I will be in my rental house. It's got a little like
Different
pool
time
house
zone.
thing. Yeah, different time zone too. Yeah. 2 hour
I've
change.
a question for you. I don't know that
Yeah.
I've ever I kind of like I just generally feel like I know the answer to this, but I've people have asked me, why is Drew moving to Colorado?
Yeah. There's a bunch of reasons, but I am a like really big picture macro view. I'm a big believer in like chapters of life. I think
Hmm.
people get into a mode of whatever they're doing, could be geographical location, could be the school that they go to, could be personal relationships, could be romantic relationships, could be your job, all of these different things. And I don't think people reassess whether they're doing what they want to do, or they're living where they want to live, or they're experiencing the like, I have the, if you're watching on YouTube, I've got the skull here, the memento mori tattoo, like, remember we must die. And I was not like that when I was younger. That concept made no sense to my brain. Like everything was like safe. I went to the first school that I went to was an hour and a half away from home, and I left the school within one semester and was right back in Scarborough, Maine. But eventually realizing that all of the things that I was doing were not what I wanted to be doing. And at this point, I had one degree and had been to 3 or 4 or 5 colleges at that point. And I printed off the brochure for the construction management program at Purdue, University of Washington, Sacramento State, and Colorado State. I printed them off and I walked into my dad's office, who I worked for, and I set them face down on his desk and then ran out of the office. Kind of like when you send it like a risky text and you close your phone because you don't dare to like, you like pace
Yeah,
around, that kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
thing.
yeah. That makes it better.
He was so happy that I was like gonna leave and like do my own thing. Like he's always been like super super supportive of what I do. But it's just one of those things, like such a huge life decision. And like he got on a plane with me and we went and visited all the places and did the whole thing. And he sat in and met with the construction management school deans with me and the whole deal. But moving to Colorado and doing that, and reinventing myself as a person and all this different stuff was like such a milestone in my life, like such a huge thing. And I came back home in 2010 and was a project manager for him at his construction company, and simultaneously opened CrossFit MF. in the garage of my house. And that was like a kind of like a hobby sort of thing at that point. It was like I want to compete, and like it's so like I didn't feel like the affiliates that were around were really my cup of tea in a lot of ways. And it was like I want to do my own thing. I want to have my like I want to have the t-shirts that the other gyms have. I want to be able to design those myself and make it like a sports team vibe with the colors and the whole deal. And obviously this has been like a huge chapter of my life, like being 39 years old and owning a business for 15 years. It's like crazy to think about, especially considering like as a male you're one of the dumber creatures on earth until like mid to late 20s. So you could say I've only owned Jim Portland in my life, closer to with my prefrontal cortex 100% of of my life. So I just believe in that concept of reevaluating where you're at. And like this one is a more peaceful decision for me because I don't want to leave Maine because I don't like Maine. I want to leave Maine to experience something else. I want to leave Maine to raise my son, like Telluride's an hour this way and Vale's this way, and can take him up to see the Grand Tetons. And I can take, Moab is really close, and
Yeah.
Zion. And like, I had a really transformative experience in college where um, my friend was coming out for a ski trip and he canceled last minute, and I did a solo camping trip for a week for spring break. And I went from Colorado to New Mexico to Arizona to Utah, and then actually stopped in Grand Junction. And I'm just like drawn to like those like vast, wide open spaces. And I've looked it up online, and it is actually a thing. It's like a psychological phenomenon. Like people feel different in spaces like that. And we've
Sure.
always been surrounded by trees. Like my roommate came home and one summer with me and worked for my dad, and he was like, "What's going on with the trees? Like you can't." Like we were driving through Scarborough, and we were driving from like that strip from like Eight Corners to the high school, and it's so dense. But that's what I didn't like. I didn't even know what he was talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like everything is trees. You can't see anything else
Sure. Yep.
when you're driving around, obviously, unless you're on the coast. And like I think that probably adds to it, but there's just something about like when I went out to visit, we went to Rocky Mountain National Park, which is just absolutely bonkers. And you can drive
Yeah.
up to the top of a 12,000-foot mountain and kind of look out over the Rockies. And it was just like I got a pass to Rocky Mountain National Park my first year at CSU, and I would drive an hour and eat lunch on top of a mountain and then drive home like weekly. I did it all the fucking time.
Damn.
My mind was just blown by like the way that it looked and all of that. It's just so different than
Yeah.
like how I grew up. So I'm definitely drawn to that. Like I said, I've got friends out there. They've got kids that are similar age to Carter. We're gonna move into like our house is being built in like a traditional neighborhood, which is gonna be really different for me. I kind of live in the woods now. I kind of like my space.
Yeah. It'd be
But
good
him
for
growing
Carter
up,
though.
yeah, him growing up, riding bikes and playing street hockey and that whole deal, that's obviously a pretty easy trade. One funny story, I don't think I've told this. I don't think I've told this on the podcast. Correct me if I'm wrong, Hunter, the story about my architect. I think I
You
just
might
told
have
you guys.
actually, but go on. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a good one anyway. I can't remember if it was
So
on the podcast or not.
so we looked for houses out there for a while, couldn't find anything that we liked. Houses are very different out there than they are in New England. Like aesthetically, the style, the vibe, the no basements, the like huge open like single floor open space concept where like you don't really know whether you have a kitchen or a living room or a TV room, like that kind of deal. But we went to one house that we liked that we didn't end up buying, and it was being built by the guy who's building our house now. So once we found some land and started working with him, they asked us what we wanted. One thing that I loved about the houses out there is they all have RV spaces. So apparently everyone out there has an RV or a camper van or whatever. I guess it makes sense with all the stuff that you can go to. But for resale value, you have to have a third bay in your garage that has really high ceilings, basically a little bit bigger. And of course,
Convenient.
I walked into all those, and I was like, "Fuck, dude, these guys have the best garage gyms, and they don't even know it.
Fucking
Like
rope
none of these people
climbs,
are using their garage
muppies, wall
gyms."
balls.
So very traditional. They're like, all right, you know, Colorado style, you want a 3-car garage with the RV bay. And I just mentioned like, hey, this is what I do for work. And I'd like to build an office and gym, you know, inside of the third bay of the garage. So the architect hand draws his first set of plans. He sends those over and he has removed the third bay from the garage and put it on the other side of the house. So it's like 2-car garage on one side, 1-car garage on the other side with 2 driveways. And I'm like, oh, that's unique. I mean, the design looks really cool. We were going for mid-century modern, like it was what we wanted. And then I click through and it says like rig, handstand walk lane, lunge lane, sauna, tub, rings, you know, climbing rope, all this stuff. And I was like, wow, this guy, like, what a salesman, right?
Guy
Like,
gets it.
this guy gets it. What a salesman. Like, he looked up who I am. He went deep on CrossFit. Like, this is crazy. We, as you guys know, listeners know, we program the Purple Mountain Throwdown in Colorado Springs every year. So I did a series of posts on Instagram where I would take the workout and post it so you guys could, you know, see the workouts that we did and you know, try them out with the winning times because that's always fun for you guys to have something to chase. And I always tag the people who won the event. And I was like, okay, Luke Keeble wins handstand push-up event. And I'm like, my name's familiar. Why do I know who that is? I'm not good with names anyways. I connect people a lot. Like there are a lot of people who are actually 3 separate people that I think are one person. I get very confused. And I go and I find his Instagram and I'm like, why do I know this person? Who is this? And then I click on the link and it's Desert Fox Homes, Desert Fox Architect, whatever. And I'm like, dude. So my architect is a extremely fit CrossFitter who is on the podium every year at Purple Mountain Throwdown.
And you program.
Knew Misfit Athletics, knew who I was basically just like, yeah, I mean, I didn't want to be weird, but I did build you the garage gym of my dreams. I was like,
What a fucking
hell
guy.
yeah, dude, what a
Nice.
guy. Because Maya did not believe me. She was like, did you have because we always met with them together. She's like, did you email them or tell them that like they needed to build you this crazy gym? And I was like, I did not say a word. I didn't say anything because like the actual
She's
builder.
fucking pissed. Like, what? He went behind my back. Like, God damn it.
And she would always say, like throughout the process, like when you're building a house, they like to come in way over budget and be like, "Hey, you want to pay this much instead?" And I'm like, "No." And she's like, "Well, if you know, if we got to, you know, cut down on the gym or whatever, it's like not a big deal." I'm just like, "Listen, I'm positioning it as so. Here's the thing: I hated working from home during COVID. It was like fun for a week or two, like." We're all too stressed. You get a little stress relief. It's fantastic. And then I was losing my mind. So I'm scared of working from home indefinitely. At the rental, I got that. I get to walk 10 feet to my job into the backyard. I'm hoping that that separate space allows me to figure out whether I can handle it. But I'm positioning it as, hey, it's going to cost between 12 and 50 grand a year for me to rent an office space. Like, what if
Cost
we're
how
saving that much
much to go to a
money?
gym? Yep.
Exactly. I'll still probably, I don't know if we'll figure out a barter system or something, but like I'll still, I got to be a member at a CrossFit gym. I have to. Like,
You might get a
I
couple
really do.
listeners to solicit you.
Yeah, I've been told there are 2 really solid CrossFit gyms. CrossFit Junction, I think it's called, and maybe Vex. I'm going to check both of those out. If you guys have other recommendations, please let me know. I'll go check those out as well. I just like, it feels weird to move to a city that has whatever 6 CrossFit gyms and not be like, hey guys, I know a thing or two about the old 2115 nines. If you want some help or whatever, like I don't know, it just feels weird to like go there and like stay in my house. So I'll definitely find a way to do that. So I don't know that I answered your question, or maybe I gave you 5 answers, but
No, get
I
the
wanted to go
idea.
back to Colorado. I wanted to move to a place where I knew people, had kids similar age to Carter. Wanted to go all in on Misfit Athletics, that
That
kind
was
of thing.
essentially the
Yeah,
short version that I gave to people. I knew you'd been out there, and I figured there was also an element of like, well, Carter hasn't started school yet, and it's a hell of a lot easier
sure.
to
Yeah,
start him at a new place than move him a year or two into school, even if he's pretty young. But
yeah.
yeah,
So we can do we've told so many variations of these stories, but we can do a quick memory lane here. So in 2000 and like 2008, 2009, right around then, we were doing CrossFit at the police station in the basement of the police station when I was home from college, and my dad offered a bay of his garage to like do a gym. And he built us like a pull-up rig inside of the gym, crazy contraption. And we did the Rogue Fitness starter kit, rower, wall ball. The funny thing too is it came with a speed rope and an ab mat, which is like so small and inconsequential, but it was like you need these things as like part of your kit.
Sure.
So we did that from Rogue, and that's a full circle moment of like seeing Bill and Katie at the Rogue competition and just being like, what you guys have built. Coming from like I used to email Bill like, hey, can I get a quote for X, Y, and
Yeah, it
Z?
was they were in the same boat as Misfit was, right?
Yeah.
Doing a similar thing.
Just crazy. So we started training people at my parents' house. So it was like us working out first, and then it was like there was a blog like xmisfits.blogspot that we would put like pictures of people working out, and we followed .com for the most part. Anytime that we cooked up workouts, it was typically like on the whiteboard when there was a large group. We were trying to make sure that it was like appropriate. So that'd be like the origins of the programming. I went back to college, and I always worked construction in the summer to like give me enough money to be a college student. And full transparency, my parents paid for me to go to college, so I mean like food and shit. But I had $1,100 left in the spring of when I was graduating of 2010, and the L1's $1,000, and I kept putting it in the cart and taking it out and putting it in the cart and taking it out. Eventually spent whatever that is, 90 some percent, most of my money, to do the L1 because I wanted to open the affiliate when I got home. And like it's funny because we've done so many things that have like feel like scaling up or leveling up or whatever, but all of those decisions felt so gigantic when they were happening.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy all of this exercise equipment. Like you can just literally just go to a gym. Like what's happening right now?
Yeah.
And then like just a snowball effect. Like I joke that you could buy a house without a W-2 in 2010. I did not. Like I had a job when I bought my house, but I'd had it for 3 months or 2 months, something like that. And I bought the house almost solely based on the fact that I could hang rings in the garage, which is just absurd and the kind of thing, again, a 24-year-old would do. Actually, yeah, I was 24 when I started the gym, not 25. But anyways, so we start the gym in the garage, and we're talking 2 0 interest credit cards maxed out in the hope of just enough money coming in from the memberships that we had, which were almost all like friends, basically. Like, could that cover the like when you split up how much we had spent over the course of whatever it was, 18 months? That became a whole thing, people using all my toilet paper and walking through my kitchen to go to the bathroom at a distance.
How many
Just
people how many
weird.
members, quote, members did you have at that point? Because I was always kind of under the impression it was mostly like
No,
like
we
a
were
handful of like the
we were a
OGs.
full blown, like it was crazy. We had the like people literally would pull up and we'd have to keep the garage door open because they would drive away when they got there. We had to keep the
Yeah.
garage door open, like even if it was cold out sometimes.
So they knew they were in the right spot.
So they knew that they're no,
Yeah.
come on in, like that kind of thing. So
Yeah, yeah.
no, we had like, I don't know, 30, 40 members. We had like I think
Okay.
it's 5 or 6 classes. It was crazy. It was like, and just coaching affiliate classes in the garage. And we we definitely wrote our own programming at that point, but eventually had to make the leap and go over to 429 Warren Avenue, and then we knocked the wall down there to go from I think 3,000 square feet to 6,000 square feet. Our neighbors called the city inspector and told them that we were doing construction without a permit. We were cutting pieces.
Which ones? Lexus?
We don't know, but we think. I'm trying to even
Who was on the
remember.
other side?
So many. I'm trying to remember who didn't like us. Someone didn't like us. This tells you how much I cared that they didn't like us. I don't remember who they are.
The Lexus guys didn't.
No,
They
no,
were
no, no.
fine. They were like, whatever.
But
It's
but
also
he
loud
was
over there.
definitely the kind of guy who would smile in your
Not-
face and then
Yeah.
yeah. Because our landlord was, oh my God, that guy. I think he still has our security deposit. But our landlord's the kind of guy who would like tell us that like, yeah, Kevin's talking shit. Anyways, someone called, and literally what we were doing, we had a scissor lift in there, and we would go up to the top and we would cut like 10 feet across. This is a 20-foot high wall. And when you have a wall that high, the studs are crazy thick.
Yeah.
The metal studs. And like the amount of times that I have had my body vibrate for 36 hours because of how long I've used a Sawzall in my career as a gym owner is wild. So we would cut like, I don't know, like 7 or 8 feet wide, I think, something like that. And then we would cut all the way down on both sides. And then we would just push it over. If we would like wobble it back and forth because it was still connected to the track at the bottom. That's just how we were taking the thing down. And I don't remember. I think it was the inspector came over. I don't think there were cops involved. There might have been, and they were just like, "Guys, you cannot do this. Like, you cannot pay for this, or you cannot do this without paying for the permit and getting approved and whatever." But within that conversation, it was like, "Hey, like, are we going to get like fined or anything?" And they're like, "No, you can like retroactively come in and fill it out, and then you can resume work." And we're like, to me, that means we wait until everyone leaves tonight and then we cut down the rest of the wall, which is what we did. And so we were there for a while, and then once everyone kind of stopped their 9 to 5s and we got bigger and Misfit Athletics turned into a thing, there were a lot of us in the like fake room that we built on top of the other offices. It was cold up there. It was dark in there. We worked at a poker table. We had metal desks that were 2 feet wide screwed to the wall. We had all of the apparel up there. It was a wild time. So that's when we moved over. That's when we moved over to Riverside Street. I don't know. I guess the rest is history there. What is your like recollection of like starting at the gym, like
Yeah,
and then going back and then coming back and all that? Like, I don't think a lot of people know that story.
When I started CrossFit in college in 2011, I want to say, and I went to a military college. So one of the first person who kind of got me into it was he was a year or two older than me. He was on track he was doing the Marine Corps ROTC, which I was doing. He was an engineer, which I was, and he was on the hockey team, which I also was. So we were, kind of friends, and we did SEAL Fit. I don't even know if SEAL Fits. I'm gonna
if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
He pops up a lot still. Mark pops up a lot in my
Mark
he's
was
like
awesome.
an influencer.
Yeah,
man. Guy.
Man, sealfit.com is still fucking here. Free workouts. What do we got here?
Yeah, hit me, bro. Hit me
Love
with one of these.
This.
600 pull-ups.
Oh, this is soft.
It just says get rhabdo.
What's this one? Monster Mash, weekly Monster Mash. So these are free workouts spread out a week apart. So it looks like they went to the
freemium.
You got to pay. Yeah, here, work capacity, 10 rounds, run 400, dumbbell push-up to clean and press with 35. So almost kind of like a man maker-ish type thing. 20
press,
alternating step-ups.
Yeah.
Alternating leg box step-ups. So 10 rounds of that. So that's 100 push-up to clean and press, 200 step-ups.
All right. Yeah, they still got it.
They still got it.
Yeah, all right.
They didn't get soft on us.
Hell
but that was one of 3 fucking workouts for the day. That I would just
progression.
It was like
so bad.
It was like warm up, Fran. That was like fuck yeah, 95. Thank God I was as young and just generally durable. Yeah, this is sick, actually. Cool. What's his last name?
If
Mark
you're
Devine.
Kidding listening, he's been saying frick, and I know it sounds like he's saying something else, but he's saying frick.
Yeah.
For all the children out there, yes.
Sorry, kids. Anyway, I started with SEALFit because CrossFit.com was chicken shit. Just doing that stupid one workout a day.
Right.
But anyway, longish story. I got VMI to pay for my L1. I convinced them I would coach like 1 class a week, and that justified $1,000.
Yeah.
Did that, and then honestly, it was kind of one of those weird things that just kind of by happenstance, because I came home from college that summer. I had a couple weeks before I needed to go to officer candidate school for the Marine Corps, and I was like, I just Google, it was just like CrossFit gym near me, you know, kind of that type of thing. There's CrossFit Casco Bay, there's Back Cove CrossFit, RIP, we still got your bumper plates, and then a couple other like Beacon showed up there, and CrossFit MF was not particularly close, but I don't remember ever going to another gym. Like I didn't like have a list and like
Sure.
poke around the other gyms. MF
Yep.
just happened to be the first one that I showed up at. And my first legitimate memory of CrossFit MF was one, I was sitting in the car because I think it wasn't open yet. And Jack Gavush is the one who pulls up, opens up the gym. And I'm like, hey, man, here's the deal. Trying to coach here. You know, what can I do? And he was like, well, he was just a coach. So he was like, well, Seth or Drew will be back here soon. Like, you can talk to them. If you want to work out, you can. And so I start doing. I still remember kind of the workout. It was like 1 up to 10 and then down to 1 of like V-ups, tire flips, and like squat snatches or some. It was some weird. It was like traditional CrossFit Hunter now would definitely have kicked first time at CrossFit MF Hunter in the dick.
Yeah.
And punched him in the head.
Wait, so we programmed that, or you?
No.
I
was no. Your guys' programming was trash. Mine was superior.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, I know that. Yeah, that story's common. I'm used to that. I was like, God, really? Must have been a weird day.
And so, yeah, I just like explained kind of the situation. Went to my officer candidate school, came back, and spent the rest of the summer coaching combination of beginners classes and shadowing you guys. Yeah, that was kind of it. And then after I graduated college, again, kind of like one of those weird, probably as fate would have it sort of things, especially looking back now. If things had gone to plan, which was like you graduate from college as an officer in the military, and then shortly after you go on to active duty and you start training. You start there are multiple schools that you need to go to. Because of the timing of this, so like little historical lesson, it was 2013, drawdown from Afghanistan and Iraq was really kind of starting to ramp up. And therefore, like the second and third order effect is, hey, we need to slow down the trickle of officers and just general military personnel because we're drawing down out of a war zone. We don't need as many people as we did before. And that created like a 1-year backlog where I didn't have a job. I'm not getting paid by the military because I'm not on active duty. And I need to make money and I need to do something in this weird post-graduation pre-military limbo. I interviewed for a couple engineering jobs, but nobody's going to hire a fresh engineer who's also going to quit in 10 months. So it was coach at MF. And that was kind of also right around the time when Misfit Athletics was kind of getting rolling. That's when misfittraining.com was both free and Misfit Training, RIP. Fuck you, Meryl. Cluck you, Meryl.
No, that wasn't Meryl. That was the woman who had the video game exercise thing.
The M, Misfit Training? No, I'm talking about just the M itself, the logo.
Yeah,
Wasn't that Meryl?
The name Misfit Training was owned by a woman who created a exercise video that looked like a video game so that you could exercise and your baby could watch a fake video game happen on the same screen. And we got a cease and desist from them to stop that. And then the
That's
logo
so fucking embarrassing.
was Meryl's shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, still, cluck you, Meryl. Like,
yeah.
And video game lady. She's still around?
She was not around at the time that she tried to sue us. Our lawyer was like, I will crush this person.
Yeah. Anyway, trained. I was also, and again, like as fate would have it, that was the best and what ended up being the only opportunity for me to compete at a level that was higher than the open. So this was still competitive CrossFit Hunter, like cool timing of like the
beat Ben Smith in the handstand
walk. 2014 when the year beat Ben Smith in the handstand walk. Come at me, Ben. But yeah, we sent a whole bunch of Misfit athletes to regionals, which was kind of the like coming out party for Misfit Training at the time, Misfit Athletics, where it was like, hey, there's a lot of purple on the competition floor in the stands and that sort of thing. And yeah, I think there was always the attachment to like, I definitely had the feeling of like, man, this is a pretty cool job. Like if I could do this for a living. And it's really, really tough to have gone through 4 years of military college to be gung-ho and like ready to go and do the thing you signed up for. 18-year-old Hunter, when he committed to a military like contract, the Marine Corps helped pay for some of my college in exchange for, active duty time. 2008 2009 Hunter and 2008 2009 Planet Earth is Fallujah 2 is
Yeah.
Afghanistan
So
2010. It's like there's some bad
still the
guys
wake
that
of
need
9/11, even though it was
wake of 9/11. Like that was really the event that honestly structured the lives of millennials and beyond. Like there was
yeah,
the
yeah,
world, the country was not the same after 9/11. And teen 17 18-year-old hunter, 19-year-old hunter who's thinking about the military is like, well, if I'm gonna do this, like there's bad guys who need killing, and like I'm gonna like I want to do it. No, not so much the mindset anymore. In hindsight's 2020, probably for the better.
there's a
But
reason why they go for the late teens, early 20s. You know what I mean?
yeah, for sure. And I
Yeah,
mean, like, we need those people for sure.
of
But
course. Yes,
the year, a year of being separated from such a regimented, challenging lifestyle to do something that you really enjoy, but then having to go back and turn that back
sure.
on was
Yep,
really difficult for me. And I think that, like, that resulted in kind of always having an attachment to CrossFit and to wanting to, like, hey, if I really am not enjoying my time in the military, like I think I should, for one reason or another, go back to this thing that, was just more interesting to me. And that's kind of what I did. I had to make some really, really, I don't want to get into specifics, but just really tough life challenges that were a result of like taking the job that I, did, which was to, come work for Misfit Athletics. That was a really difficult time for me. But it was just kind of that's kind of how I came back to the Maine area and kind of got into what I'm doing now. And yeah, doing that stuff has been great. And I think just over the last 5-6 years, blame it on just changes as in the prefrontal cortex, or probably a combination of both. The way that CrossFit and the sport of CrossFit has kind of evolved, it's directed me much more clearly toward the affiliate side of things. And I told some members last night, I was like, straight up, like, I love, like, the athletes who compete in CrossFit are like exceptional. The athletes that I coach are phenomenal. The people that I think I can most positively impact and ultimately change their lives exist within the four walls of the affiliate, rather than, competing in the 21-15 nines. So it just kind of made sense. And like you and I chatted about this, and there's also like an element of like, hey man, I need to be able, this thing either needs to, I'm about to be 35 years old. This thing is either going to help serve me personally for the rest of for at least another like long period of time, or it's not.
right. Yep.
And I even got to a point where I was like looking at other jobs like completely outside of CrossFit. And like, I don't even know if I've ever told you this, so this will be fun for listeners because I mentioned it to some members, but I interviewed for an engineering job at one point thinking that like, this is like, as much as I love this, I'm not going to be able to make this like essentially like financially feasible for me and stuff like that without a serious change. And that was really the major impetus for like, hey Drew, like you want to chat about this sort of thing. And like, I had also did not had very much interest in ownership before that, so that was probably maybe surprising to you at the time because I had shied away from that in all regards prior to. But when you told me you were gonna, you were moving,
I
it
mean,
was
you had
like
seen
that
though how
changed
muddy it
things.
can get when you're trying to figure out what the structure of something like that is and who gets what and who does what when it's split up into pieces.
Yeah,
And the idea of like I own Misfit Athletics, you own Misfit Gym Portland, I think is a very different thing
for sure.
than all that other stuff. And part of it literally is just financial. Like there used to be 5 owners of Misfit Athletics, and we were never going to have a situation where everyone had a great paying full-time gig doing what we were doing. And maybe there were different ways to do certain things, but like that's what happens in a lot of these situations. People are just like, hey, like I got to move on because I'm an adult.
Well, a
Like at
lot
a
of it
certain
too
point,
was like, this actually seemed like at a time everybody talks about the golden years of CrossFit being 2014 to 2018 to 18,
Yeah.
ish, right? Maybe when
Right.
they changed around the like Glassman made the first big change to the games with like every country on the planet being represented, but like at the time you kind of just roll with the punches, and the punches were the sport of CrossFit is booming. This is the golden era. Rich Froning is going to take us all to the promised land, and so you make the adjustments, and obviously things, then there are other adjustments that get made, and like you have to make those changes too. But yeah, I think it just made sense, and similar to you, and from the like a narrative perspective as far as like thinking about your life and stuff like that. I think definitely similarly, maybe not so much in like the phases and more in terms of like there's part of me that feels like I'm supposed to be doing this. It's
Yeah.
not
Yep.
necessarily like I've never had this like deep feeling of like this is what I was like. Nobody, no hand came down and
Sure.
like
Right.
massaged my head and shined a light and said like go this way. It was much more of a feeling of like either like service or just like this is the best way that you can make an impact from like a lifelong perspective, right? Like there's people who make an impact by going to a desk job, making enough money to support their family, and that's great, that's terrific. And then there's like for me it seems more like I hope that I can make that at least a little bit more reasonable for me, but more so like, man, I think that I can move the needle on like a large group of people's lives that are directly in front of me in the gym versus like, the broad misfit community is obviously phenomenal, but it's a very different thing to be serving people from behind a screen who are kind of out in the ether somewhere, and like you hope that what you're doing is making a difference, but you're maybe not totally sure. For me, it's like, hey, when I can see, I fucking love mowing the lawn because I can see exactly what I just did and the immediate result of it. And when like I'm gonna mow the lawn in this affiliate where I can actually see the changes, you can already see that like when you're a coach and when you're out around the members as often as I try to be. So the goal would just be to kind of enhance that and be like, hey, I think we've got a really good thing here if we made it better, maybe more than 30% of the members see tremendous change in their life that makes a difference. So it's a little bit more of a the call to serve sort of thing, to draw a parallel to the military versus like I don't know, that I guess that's
Yeah.
it,
My
just the feeling that this is maybe the right thing to do.
Yeah. I've got a couple of follow-up questions, but I do have to run, so we'll do a little cliffhanger here and finish this conversation next week. But my final thoughts are important for me to say because I feel like I haven't had permission to say this in the past for fear of saying the wrong thing, and now I don't feel that way. I feel the way that you feel about the affiliate, about the Misfit Athletics athletes.
Sure.
When a coach comes to me for a mentorship, when an athlete comes to me for remote coaching, when an athlete signs up for our programming and really participates on Telegram, and that level of buy-in and people being interested in the same thing as me on a similar level is what motivates me. And like it became very clear that I was so much better at that than I was at coaching, specifically an affiliate class, not necessarily owning the business or being part of the community or helping coaches, but very specifically that. And I just feel like it's almost like I felt like it's taboo to express that opinion, especially in today's climate where like there has been a shift where it's like affiliates are the place. And honestly, I stayed an affiliate owner much longer than I stayed an affiliate coach for that exact reason. Having a hand in changing a local community is like so incredibly important to me. And I wouldn't be surprised if I did it again eventually. But like my highest and best use, I think, is in the setting of Misfit Athletics. Misfit Athletics, Misfit Affiliate, getting into the educational sides. Like for me, it was like putting someone like you in charge who feels the way that you do about it is like the kind of decision that I needed to make for the community to thrive. Where it's like this is pretty obvious to me who belongs in this seat and who belongs in this seat. And like talk about full circle, we are literally like fully kind of in those seats. So
Yeah.
yeah, we'll do a little follow up live chat. We'll check back in on these things on next week's episode. Yeah, crazy times. A lot of changes for the both of us, and we've had a ton of conversations privately about this stuff, but publicly just want to wish you all the luck in the world and tell people like if you live in Greater Portland, Maine, and you don't go to Misfit Gym Portland, you're fucking insane. It's okay for me to drop the F bomb when I say that because one of the best gyms in the world is in a place that feels like a niche destination. It's this
Yeah.
tiny little city in the state that some people literally don't know exists. So I can say it now wholeheartedly because I get no financial gain from it. It really is that special of a place. So former
Yeah.
members, like locals, get your keister over to Misfit in Portland. Change your life.
Keister.
Yeah,
Nice.
get your keister over there. All right, I got to run. This episode is brought to you by Gorilla Mind. You can head to gorillamind.com/misfit or just use the code misfit on their site and stack it onto their Black Friday stuff that's going on now. That's already 20, 30, and 40% off. Athletics.com for your individual programming needs. Teammisfit.com for your affiliate programming needs. Click on the sign up now button and you can get 2 weeks for free at SugarWOD, StreamFit, or Push Press. See you next week.
Drive safe.
Yeah.
You're a scrappy little misfit, just like me.
Biggest bunch of misfits I ever set eyes on.